The Analects, Why Character Trumps Success, the Enduring Mindset of the Junzi. Hook and intro. In a world relentlessly driven by the pursuit of success, we are constantly told to chase promotions, accumulate wealth, and build formidable resumes. From the moment we step into adulthood, the narrative is clear: achieve, acquire, ascend. We measure our worth by external markers: the size of our bank accounts, the prestige of our titles, the number of followers we have. But what if this relentless pursuit, this endless climb, is actually distracting us from something far more profound, something that truly defines a well-lived life? What if true success lies not in what we gain, but in who we become? Today, we dive into an ancient text that offers a radical counter-narrative to this modern obsession: Confucius's The Analects. Compiled over 2 millennia ago, this collection of wisdom introduces us to an ideal, a philosophy, and a way of being known as the Junzi. The Junzi, often translated as the exemplary person or noble person, stands as a beacon for those who seek to prioritize inner cultivation and moral character over the fleeting allure of external achievements. This isn't about rejecting ambition entirely, but about recalibrating our understanding of what truly makes a life successful and meaningful. Our journey into the Analects will reveal how Confucius challenged his own turbulent era by advocating for a life centered on virtues such as benevolence, righteousness, and trustworthiness. He proposed that true leadership, true prosperity, and true contentment stem from a deeply cultivated self, not from power grabbed or riches hoarded. This philosophy invites us to look inward, to reflect on our actions, and to build a character so strong and so virtuous that it becomes its own reward. It suggests that when we focus on becoming better human beings, external accomplishments often follow naturally, but they are no longer the ultimate measure of our worth. In this video, we will explore the profound difference between chasing success and cultivating character, as articulated by Confucius. We will unpack the core tenets of the Junzi mindset, understand the virtues that define it, and discover how these ancient ideas can provide practical guidance for our lives today. In an age of anxiety, comparison, and superficiality, the wisdom of the Analects offers a path to genuine fulfillment, resilience, and a deeper sense of purpose. It reminds us that while the world may push us to achieve more, Confucius beckons us to become more. So let's embark on this intellectual adventure and rediscover what it truly means to live a life of character. This exploration will challenge our preconceived notions of what it means to be successful, urging us to consider the enduring power of ethical living and the profound satisfaction that comes from mastering oneself. By understanding the Junzi mindset, we can begin to shift our focus from merely acquiring to genuinely becoming, fostering not just personal well-being, but also contributing to a more harmonious and just society. Prepare to reconsider your definition of success and perhaps embark on a new kind of pursuit. Context and background: to truly appreciate the wisdom of Confucius and the concept of the Junzi, we must first transport ourselves back to the turbulent era in which he lived. Confucius, or Kong-Fuzi, lived from 551 to 479 BCE, a period often referred to as the Spring and Autumn period, which transitioned into the Warring States period of ancient China. This was not a time of peace and prosperity, but one marked by profound political fragmentation, incessant warfare, and widespread social upheaval. The once mighty Zhou dynasty, which had reigned for centuries and provided a stable social and moral order, was in decline. Its authority had eroded, giving way to numerous smaller states that constantly vied for power, leading to relentless conflict and instability. Traditional institutions were crumbling, old moral codes were being disregarded, and common people suffered immensely. It was a chaotic landscape where might often made right and personal gain frequently trumped ethical considerations. In this environment of moral decay and social disarray, Confucius emerged as a philosopher, a teacher, and an aspiring statesman. He was deeply concerned by the suffering he witnessed and believed that the key to restoring order and harmony lay not in military might or strict laws, but in the moral cultivation of individuals, especially those in positions of power. He looked back to the perceived golden age of the early Zhou dynasty, seeking to revive its values of ethical governance, personal integrity, and ritual propriety. The Analects, Chinese letter. The text we are exploring today is a testament to Confucius's lifelong mission. It is not a systematic philosophical treatise with structured arguments, but rather a collection of his sayings, conversations, and anecdotes, meticulously compiled by his disciples after his death. This format gives the text a very personal, immediate feel, almost as if we are listening in on a master teaching his students, grappling with profound questions of ethics and human nature in real time. Within these pages, Confucius introduces the concept of the Junzi Chinese letter, which is central to his philosophy. Historically, Junzi could refer to a son of a ruler or a person of high social status by birth. However, Confucius radically reoriented this term, shifting its meaning from inherited nobility to moral nobility. For Confucius, a Junzi was no longer defined by their lineage or wealth, but by their cultivated character, their ethical conduct, and their unwavering commitment to moral principles. The Junzi thus became the aspirational ideal for all individuals, regardless of their social standing. It represented the exemplary person who, through diligent self-cultivation, embodies the virtues essential for a flourishing life and a harmonious society. This was a profound democratic shift in thinking, suggesting that greatness was accessible to anyone willing to put in the moral effort, rather than being limited to an aristocratic elite. Confucius believed that if individuals, particularly those in leadership, could embody the qualities of the Junzi, then society itself would naturally find its balance and order. This was his answer to the pervasive chaos of his time. Start with the self, cultivate virtue, and let that virtue spread outwards, transforming families, communities, and eventually the state. It was a philosophy of moral suasion over coercive force, of inner transformation over external control. This background is crucial because it highlights the practicality and urgency of Confucius's teachings. He wasn't just theorizing in an ivory tower, he was offering a tangible path to peace and prosperity in a world that desperately needed it. His emphasis on character was not an abstract ideal but a blueprint for survival and flourishing amidst moral and political collapse. This is why his teachings resonated so deeply and continue to do so today as we face our own complexities. The fundamental virtues that define the Junzi Ren benevolence, Yi righteousness, Lai propriety, Zhai wisdom, and Xin trustworthiness were not mere philosophical concepts. They were practical guidelines for navigating everyday life, for interacting with family and strangers, for governing, and for teaching. These virtues, cultivated inwardly and expressed outwardly, formed the bedrock of the Junzi mindset, setting it apart from the superficial pursuits of the petty person, Xiaoren, who Confucius often contrasted with his ideal. Understanding this historical and philosophical foundation is the first step in unlocking the profound wisdom that the Analects offers. It allows us to see that Confucius's call to pursue character over success was not just an ethical preference, but a deeply considered solution to the most pressing problems of his age. A solution that remains remarkably relevant to the challenges we face in our own modern world. Core narrative and analysis. The central narrative of the Analects revolves around the stark contrast between two archetypal figures: the Junzi, Chinese letter, the exemplary or noble person, and the Xiaoren, Chinese letter, the petty or base person. This dichotomy is not just a descriptive classification but a fundamental ethical framework that defines the Confucian vision of a good life. The Junzi embodies the pursuit of character, while the Xiaoren epitomizes the chase for success. Confucius famously articulated this distinction: the Junzi understands what is right, the Xiaoren understands what is profitable. This single statement cuts to the heart of the matter. The Junzi's motivations are rooted in Chinese letter or righteousness, doing what is morally appropriate and just. They act according to principles, integrity, and a deep sense of moral duty. Their decisions are not dictated by what will bring them the most money, power, or fame, but by what is intrinsically good and fitting. For example, if faced with a business opportunity that promises immense wealth but requires compromising ethical standards, the Junzi would unhesitatingly choose righteousness over profit. In contrast, the Xiaoren is driven by Lai Chinese letter or personal gain and profit. Their primary concern is self-interest, external validation, and the accumulation of material possessions. They are pragmatic to a fault, often willing to bend or break moral rules if it serves their immediate advantage. Confucius would see a Xiaoren as someone who prioritizes a high-paying job that violates their conscience or who seeks public recognition through superficial means over cultivating genuine character. This difference in motivation leads to entirely different life paths and outcomes. At the heart of the Junzi's mindset is the cultivation of several interconnected virtues, with Ren Chinese letter being the most paramount. Ren is often translated as benevolence, humaneness, or human-heartedness. It represents the ultimate expression of human goodness and encompasses empathy, compassion, and a deep sense of connection to others. It is the ability to love others and to treat them as you would wish to be treated, a concept known as Xiu Chinese letter, or reciprocity. Imagine a scenario: a neighbor falls on hard times. A Xiaoren might ignore them or even see an opportunity for personal gain. A Junzi, however, guided by Ren, would feel genuine compassion. They would consider how they would wish to be treated in that situation and act with kindness and support, not for praise, but because it is the humane thing to do. This principle extends to all relationships within families, among friends, and in the broader community. The Junzi understands that true fulfillment comes from fostering these deep, empathetic connections. Following Ren is Yi Chinese letter, righteousness or justice. If Ren is the inner feeling of humaneness, Yi is its outward manifestation in action. It is about doing what is morally appropriate and fitting in any given situation. For instance, a Junzi in a position of power would not use their authority to enrich themselves or their cronies. Instead, they would act with Yi, ensuring fairness and justice for all, even if it meant making unpopular decisions or sacrificing personal benefits. Their actions would be guided by principles, not personal agendas. Another crucial virtue is Lai Chinese letter, ritual propriety or etiquette. This is more than just good manners, it is the structured expression of inner virtue. Lai provides a framework for social interactions, guiding how we behave, speak, and show respect. When performed with sincerity, Lai cultivates inner refinement and fosters harmonious relationships. For example, respectful greetings, thoughtful gestures, and adherence to social norms are not superficial displays for the Junzi. They are deliberate acts that demonstrate respect for others and uphold the social fabric. Without Lai, our interactions can become crude and disorganized, even if we have good intentions. Confucius believed that through the consistent practice of Lai, individuals could gradually internalize ethical principles, transforming external forms into genuine inner virtue. It's like learning to play a musical instrument. Initially, the movements are awkward and conscious, but with practice, they become fluid and expressive, a natural extension of the musician's inner feeling. Then there is Zhai Chinese letter or wisdom. This is not just intellectual knowledge, but the ability to discern right from wrong, to understand the way Tao Chinese letter, and to apply moral principles effectively. The Junzi is a lifelong learner, constantly seeking knowledge and reflecting deeply upon it. Confucius emphasized this balance. To learn and not to think is a waste. To think and not to learn is a danger. Wisdom for the Junzi is the enlightened application of virtue, allowing them to navigate complex situations with clarity and moral conviction. Finally, Xin Chinese letter is trustworthiness or sincerity. It means being honest, reliable, and true to one's word. For the Junzi, integrity is paramount. Their actions align with their words, building a foundation of trust in all their relationships. A leader lacking Xin will quickly lose the respect and loyalty of their people. A friend without Zen will damage their bonds. The Junzi understands that a society, a family, or a friendship cannot truly flourish without this fundamental virtue. The journey to becoming a Junzi is described as a continuous process of self-cultivation, Xiu Jai Chinese letter. It is not a destination but a lifelong path of learning, self-examination, and ethical practice. Confucius himself admitted, "I am not the kind of person who is born with knowledge. I am simply fond of antiquity and earnest in seeking it there." This humility is a hallmark of the Junzi. They continually examine themselves for faults, always seeking to improve. For instance, Confucius advocated for daily self-reflection. "I daily examine myself on 3 counts. Whether in acting for others I have not been faithful, whether in working with friends I have not been sincere, and whether I have not mastered and practiced what I have been taught." This rigorous self-assessment ensures that the Junzi remains aware of their shortcomings and actively works to rectify them, demonstrating resilience and a commitment to growth even in the face of setbacks. This idea of continuous self-improvement and shaping one's character resonates strongly with Aristotelian virtue ethics in Western philosophy. Both traditions emphasize that virtue is not innate but is cultivated through habit and practice, leading to eudaimonia, or a flourishing life. However, Confucianism places a greater emphasis on relational ethics and the individual's role in fostering social harmony, seeing personal cultivation as intrinsically linked to societal well-being. Furthermore, the Junzi's internal focus on what is within one's control, thoughts, intentions, and character draws parallels with Stoicism. While Stoics often advocate for individual detachment, the Junzi is deeply engaged with society, yet remains unmoved by external praise or criticism. They are like the North Star Confucius spoke of in governance. To govern with virtue is like the North Star, it stays in its place and all the stars turn towards it. Their moral steadfastness naturally influences others not through force but through exemplary conduct. This philosophy also stands in stark contrast to other schools of thought prevalent in ancient China. Legalism, for example, believed human nature was inherently selfish and required strict laws and harsh punishments to maintain order, a diametrically opposed view to Confucius's emphasis on moral suasion and cultivation. Taoism, as seen in Laozi's Tao Te Ching, often advocated for wu-wei non-action and living in harmony with the natural flow of the universe, reducing desires and embracing simplicity. While different in approach, Confucianism being more socially active and structured, Taoism more passive and spontaneous, both offer a path to inner peace and authenticity that transcends superficial worldly pursuits, albeit through different means. The core narrative of the Analects is not a story of conquest or grand achievements, but a profound exploration of what it means to be truly human, truly noble. It is an invitation to engage in the lifelong art of living, shaping one's character with diligence and integrity, knowing that this internal cultivation is the true measure of a person's worth, far more enduring than any fleeting external success. Deep insight and reflection, the ancient wisdom of the Analects and the enduring ideal of the Junzi offer profound insights that resonate deeply with the complexities of contemporary life. In our modern society, where the cult of success often equates worth with wealth, power, and public recognition, Confucius's philosophy provides a much-needed counter-narrative, inviting us to redefine what a truly successful life entails. One of the most powerful modern applications of the Junzi mindset is in ethical leadership. In today's business and political landscapes, we often see leaders driven purely by profit margins, election cycles, or personal gain, sometimes at the expense of ethics, employee well-being, or the public good. The Junzi ideal offers a timeless blueprint for leaders to prioritize integrity, righteousness, and the welfare of others. For example, a CEO guided by Junzi principles would ensure fair wages and ethical supply chains, even if it slightly reduces short-term profits, because they understand that long-term trust and societal contribution are more valuable. Similarly, in politics, a Junzi leader would govern with benevolence and justice, acting not for personal power but for the harmony and prosperity of all citizens. Their leadership would inspire rather than coerce, creating a society where people willingly follow because they respect the leader's character. This stands in stark contrast to a Machiavellian approach which prioritizes power and control above all else. For personal well-being, the Junzi mindset offers a pathway to deeper satisfaction and resilience. In an era often marked by comparison culture, social media anxiety, and the pressure to constantly keep up, the Confucian emphasis on inner cultivation liberates us from the relentless chase. Instead of finding validation in external accolades, the Junzi finds contentment in their own moral integrity and personal growth. This means cultivating an inner resilience that is not easily swayed by external setbacks or criticisms. For example, when faced with career disappointment, a person adopting the Junzi mindset might reflect on what they learned, how they can improve their character and continue to act with righteousness rather than succumbing to despair or bitterness. Their worth is not tied to the outcome but to the effort and the character they displayed. This internal locus of value is a powerful antidote to the stress and burnout prevalent in modern society. In interpersonal relationships, the virtues of Ren benevolence, Xin trustworthiness, and Lai propriety are foundational. In a world where relationships can often be superficial or transactional, the Junzi teaches us to foster deep, authentic connections based on empathy, sincerity, and mutual respect. This means actively listening, being reliable, and treating others with the dignity they deserve. For instance, in a marriage or friendship, a Junzi would prioritize open communication, forgiveness, and consistent support, building bonds that endure beyond fleeting convenience. Finally, the Junzi mindset profoundly impacts our approach to education. Confucius viewed learning not as mere knowledge acquisition for career advancement, but as a lifelong process of moral cultivation. In modern education systems, often criticized for focusing too much on testing and rote memorization, the Confucian approach advocates for holistic development, integrating intellectual understanding with ethical practice and emotional maturity. It encourages students to ask why, to reflect on the moral implications of their knowledge, and to use their learning to become better citizens and human beings. However, the application of ancient wisdom to modern contexts is not without its nuances and points of contention. One might ask if the Junzi ideal is too idealistic for a competitive world, or if its emphasis on hierarchy in traditional society can be reconciled with modern notions of equality. While the Analects reflects its historical context, its core message of universal human potential for moral cultivation transcends these specifics. The true challenge lies in discerning the timeless principles from their historical manifestations and adapting them to our diverse societies. Let us now reflect on some key philosophical questions raised by the Junzi mindset. What truly constitutes a successful life for you? Is it measured by what you accumulate or by the person you become? How do you currently prioritize character cultivation in your daily life? What specific actions do you take to foster virtues like benevolence or trustworthiness? In what ways might a focus on internal character make you more resilient in the face of external challenges or failures? Can you recall a time when your character truly guided you? How can you apply the principles of Ren and Yi in your professional life, even when it might mean making difficult decisions that don't immediately maximize profit or personal gain? What role does humility play in your learning and growth? Are you truly open to learning from everyone, even those you might perceive as having shortcomings? How does your definition of success align with or diverge from the Junzi's emphasis on inner worth over external appearance? What would it mean to truly embrace this shift? In what ways can a deeper focus on character contribute to the harmony of your family, your community, or your workplace? Think about specific virtues you could emphasize. These questions invite us to engage with Confucius not just as an ancient philosopher, but as a living guide for navigating the complexities of our modern existence, encouraging us to seek an enduring form of success rooted in the unwavering strength of our character. outro as we conclude our journey through the Analects and the profound concept of the Junzi. One truth stands clear. Confucius offered us a revolutionary blueprint for living, one that daringly places the cultivation of character above the relentless pursuit of success as commonly defined. He invites us to pivot from asking, "What can I get?" to "Who can I become?" redefining a life well lived not by external accolades, but by an unwavering commitment to inner virtue. The Junzi mindset isn't just an ancient ideal. It's a timeless call to authenticity, integrity, and a deeper sense of purpose that resonates perhaps more strongly today than ever before. The core message is beautifully simple yet profoundly challenging. True and lasting fulfillment comes from embodying virtues like benevolence, righteousness, trustworthiness, and wisdom. This internal mastery, achieved through continuous learning and rigorous self-reflection, creates a powerful moral compass that guides us through life's complexities, fosters harmonious relationships, and contributes to a just society. It frees us from the often stressful and superficial race for external validation, offering instead the quiet, enduring satisfaction of a life grounded in moral excellence. If this exploration has sparked your curiosity about ancient wisdom and its relevance to modern life, there are many avenues for further inquiry. You might delve deeper into the works of Laozi and Taoism, whose emphasis on naturalness, simplicity, and wu-wei non-action offers a complementary though distinct path to inner peace and harmony. While Confucius guides us to actively shape our character, Laozi invites us to align with the natural flow of the universe, offering a balance to the active pursuit of virtue. Another fascinating figure is Mencius, a key successor to Confucius, who further elaborated on the concept of human nature, famously arguing for its inherent goodness. Exploring Mencius would provide a deeper understanding of the potential we all hold to become a Junzi and the societal role of nurturing this innate virtue. His philosophy emphasizes that the seeds of benevolence and righteousness are within us all, waiting to be cultivated. You could also explore Western virtue ethics, particularly the works of Aristotle, who also championed character development as the path to eudaimonia, or human flourishing. Comparing the Confucian Junzi with Aristotle's magnanimous man or his concept of practical wisdom offers rich insights into universal ethical aspirations across different cultures. Ultimately, the enduring legacy of the Analects is an invitation to embark on the most important journey of all, the journey inward. It asks us to cultivate our character with the same fervor we once reserved for chasing external rewards, promising that in doing so, we discover a truer, more resilient, and infinitely more meaningful form of success. May your path be guided by the wisdom of the Junzi, enriching not only your own life but the world around you. Thank you for joining us on this exploration.